Okay, it's Tim McConnell, everybody! Woo! There we go. Right, so I'm talking about education for the first time that anyone has ever done that ever. And it's been one of those areas that I don't think is considered important, except by literally everyone ever that's thought about it even for a minute. Unsurprisingly, this subject has been moderately covered by a lot of people, including Lewis. Now, I first read about education today with Aristotle, pictured here by Rembrandt, remembering that he's left the oven on. Now, I've been a student at university for 20 years. As in, I'm at university now and I've been a student for 20 years. I haven't been at university for 20 years yet. So I feel, for some reason, qualified to talk about why education is important, because by this stage, I'm so indebted to the system that I owe it. So this is you saw my infant school. It's the same as every other infant school, and this is my junior school. It's almost identical to every other junior school. That's where I learned about Tudors for the first, but for some reason, not the last time. And this is my secondary school. This lake, as we called it, it's a very large pond, turned into a sort of a cesspool every summer. It was absolutely disgusting. But you learn a lot of things at secondary school. Then this talk is going to be mostly about mass public education. So this is me exactly 10 years ago, and as precocious and overconfident as you can possibly imagine a child being. We were asked what our long-term goals were, and I very confidently stated that I was going to unite South America. Asked what my short-term goal is to achieve that, I said I should learn Spanish, and I still haven't. Right, now, I didn't go to a particularly great school. The walls were made out of polystyrene, pebble-dashed, to make them weatherproofed, and honestly, it felt utterly miserable in there, and I think, like Lewis was saying, we can all vaguely relate to that. I went to a big technical school. It was a specialist in arts, maths, and computing, make your mind up. And then I came to university, and that's it. That's been my entire educational history. I stayed at the same university very boringly, and because of my lack of language skills. So I think it's important to, when we think about school, to sort of strip down the content of what we're taught and learn about the form, right? So like Lewis was saying, that fundamentally, Lewis, burying my lead a little bit, fundamentally the form of school is learning about hierarchized education, so that you sit down and be quiet and listen to someone. This is obviously, I'm talking about Big Mickey Forecourts or Michel Foucault to his friends, pictured here with a small cat to make him look less scary. And the idea of school is to teach discipline and to teach basic discipline. Now, in this way, he's actually very similar to Aristotle, in that fundamentally the way you design an educational system, it's always an inherently political act, because you design an educational system that's built around the sort of society that you're educating people to be part of. Now, this explains why education has been in sort of perpetual crisis ever since society itself has been in perpetual crisis with the Industrial Revolution, because the skills that you need to be part of society are shifting far faster than any reasonable educational policy can possibly keep up with. This is the 1868 World Fair, where Britain went and realised that actually German skilled workers were outpacing our dumb, unskilled workers, and that maybe we should teach children something even if they're working class. Which brings us straight back to New Labour, who thought that education was so important, but didn't actually work out any substantial policies that were different from the John Major government. They just really thought it mattered. Ultimately, the way that you structure education structures the future, so there can be no more important subject to talk about. But it's also incredibly difficult to predict the future. I think too much of the time our idea of how to talk about education is dominated by this idea that it should be somehow apolitical, but education can never be apolitical. It's always going to be teaching the future citizens how they're going to be part of citizenship. Now, citizenship education is always going to be a very difficult and controversial subject, and I don't propose to have solid answers here. I do think that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way that education works, and I think we're sort of deliberately cheating young people because it's actually quite profitable. This is the future nightmare that is the Victoria Centre here. I can't imagine a worse place to live. But what kind of society will produce in the future is such a strong question that, and this is Aristotle, who also knew this, right? This is Aristotle in the form that he comes to me at night. And he knew that citizenship education in democracy has to be political. It's political education because you're teaching people how to take part in public discourse. And ultimately, you're setting the form for public reason. A public illusion is the way that we discuss things and how that you understand what I'm saying. So trying to create a depoliticised education system is a political act that's the most dangerous of all. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can see others on the Bettakultcha YouTube channel. Subscribe now and you'll be notified when new ones are uploaded.